Berry Brothers and Rudd blended malt Scotch whiskies, sherry cask matured, and Islay Reserve. What are these like, and are they worth getting? Stay tuned for the Whisky Whistle. Hello, my whiskey people, season's greetings, and Merry Christmas. Mark Kaufman here for Whisky Whistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from South Korea. Today we have two special Scotch whiskies. We've got the Berry Brothers and Rudd blended malt Scotch whiskies. Today I've got the Islay Reserve for you to check out together with me. Let's get those poured and we'll get into this together. Blended malt, for those who don't know, is simply a blend of two or more single malt Scotch whiskies. Berry Brothers and Rudd Islay Reserve. And I'll give you a quick close-up of that bottle. 44.2%. It's Islay Reserve, and therefore all of the malts would have come from Islay. You can pretty much bet that there's going to be a fair bit of Kulila in there, and rounded off with other malts. I don't think I can notice any Beaumont in there, but I think we do have some Ardbeg, probably some Laphroaig, and there could also be something else, like maybe even a bit of Kilchoman in there if they're able to purchase, they probably are. Okay, anyway, let's get that poured. And as soon as I open this bottle, what rushes out is that big waft of peat smoke. Oh, wow. Yeah, smelling this cork, definitely some Ardbeg in there. And you know, it's a blended malt, so it has to have two or more. You cannot call a single malt a blended malt, so it cannot simply be just Kulila, as I mentioned. I'll read this to you here. Our classic Islay malt is a carefully selected blend of casks from some of the island's iconic distilleries. I think I forgot to mention Lagavulin. There could also be a little bit of Lagavulin in there. That is rather rare to see from an independent bottler. That's what Berry Brothers and Rudd are. Former, general store, started blending whiskeys, started buying casks, making that early days very lovely, the Cutty Sark blend. Now, I showed this in the last review when I reviewed Kirkland Islay single malt, and we compared the colors. This is natural. This is 100% natural. It's even lighter than all the furniture that's here. If it were any lighter, it would be like, very, very light tequila reposado with no color added. Or, just very, very pale. Mezcal sometimes has a little hint of color in it. Okay. And we'll check out the legs together here. Okay, let's see. Well, it's evaporating faster than the legs are being formed. But anyway, not as slow as the sherry cask matured. This will be matured in refill casks, second fill, first fill. There could be a couple of first fill in there. And given the size of these releases, could be something like 10 barrels released at a time. And they're probably hogsheads, so they're about maybe 250 liters a piece. 10, maybe 20. So maybe a couple of first fill, just for that oomph, a little bit of something slightly sweet and flavorful. But it doesn't smell young. And I would not put this below 8 years old. Pardon me, I'm thinking probably 10 and above, and an average age of somewhere around 11 years old. And deep in here, I can smell some slightly older peated Islay casks in here. And we have some light crisp fruits, green apple, fresh citrus like lemon rind, lemon pith, and the smoke is very gentle here as well. Likewise with the Kirkland in the previous review, the Kirkland Islay single malt. The Berry Brothers and Rudd Islay Reserve is a nice, gentle, not overly medicinal style of peat. Now, having said that, I just got a little waft of a very light TCP note, very light Band-Aid, not quite Band-Aids, but it's the ointment that you'd rub on a cut to help it heal. A little bit of light, very light menthol. Quite a lovely nose. Onto the palate then. Cheers, folks. Now, coming off of the Sherry Cask Reserve, you get that little medicinal hit here, and really showing me that there are going to be some I think Lefroy casks involved here, but overall it's quite a nice gentle opening to the experience. Dry, quite dry. A touch of sweetness, lemon pith, burning lemon oil, a slight flavor of the tarred gravel road, freshly tarred gravel road. It's got that not quite asphalt, which is insanely too strong for me, but it's that one down where it's I don't know if that's what kind of fuel would that be? Kerosene maybe. And if you've got a friend who's a mezcal lover, this is a good transitional drink, transitional malt to get them into whiskey. It's quite dry, neat. The flavors are wonderful. You've got wafts of gentle, like not, well, I guess no, super hot oak like logs burning. It's burning super hot, so there's not much ash, and you get that lovely scented wood note coming out. And no, nothing, no pine, no pine needles like I often get from a Bowmore. Okay, let's get some water in there. And for this one, I'm going to go with 15 drops. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 1 milliliter for the Islay malt. Younger Islay malts, definitely you can add a little bit more water. I think it's beneficial. And you get some types that like to drink whiskey at the strength that it's bottled, and they refuse to add water. They're missing out. They really are. Okay, here we go. The nose with water. So much subtler. There's a little bit of a sweet red fresh apple coming through here. Skins and all. And something a little bit like, I don't know, kind of like a herbal bread where there's a lot of herbs in there. We still have the citrus. Obviously, we still have some gentle smoke coming through here. It's really softened out the medicinal note. Let's check out the palate now. I hit it bang on with the water. It's really dampened that dryness. Now, you don't want to eliminate the dryness, the astringency of a whiskey. That's part of the experience. Does it have some bitterness? That's not a bad thing. Things shouldn't always be sweet and maybe just a tiny little bit sour to balance the sweetness. That's pretty much everybody's palate at first. We've got this focus on sweetness, and we're forgetting that there's things that are bitter that are delicious. Why is it that certain lettuce greens just brighten up a salad? It's the bitterness that really adds really adds to the overall flavors in there. Some sweet lemony, appley, fruity notes coming through here. The smoke is taking on a different type of a flavor. It's a little bit more herbaceous, reminding me a little bit of caraway. Of course, it's still peaty. The peat's not going to disappear. This is still 100% a peated malt. You know, people talk about, oh, okay, well, this is super heavy peat, and this is heavy peat, and this is medium peat, and light peat, and everything else is unpeated. There's more levels than that. Sure, you've got the super heavy peated. You've got the 160 ppm Octomores, and some other distilleries have done really, really high ppm malts as well. I think maybe Ben Romack put out something like that, as well as Ardbeg. But 50 ppm, that's heavily peated. 40 ppm, that's still heavily peated. 30 ppm to 20 ppm, that's medium. And 15 ppm, it's still medium. 10 ppm, this is where you're getting into light. And 5 ppm is still lightly peated. And there's a lot of whiskeys in Scotland that use malt that's specifically made with peat to like 1 to 3 or 2 to 5 ppm. And that's still lightly peated. It's not unpeated. There's only a handful of distilleries in Scotland that actually do not use any peat at all. And I think this is probably the second or third or 10th time that I've mentioned this. It's always important just to adjust your thinking. And if you're all about peat, yeah, then when you try, something like Springbank 10, you're going to say, oh, this is not peated at all. But if you're coming from the other direction, if you're coming from Speyside, if you're coming from Glenlivet, or which even Glenlivet has a little bit of peat content, if you're coming from, I don't know, let's say Glengoyne, which is not peated at all, and you come to Springbank, it's going to be like, oh, wow, this is very peaty. This is very peat smoky. And if you are all about peat, you really have to explore more. Likewise, if you're all about sherry, you're really not developing your palate effectively. A mini rant over. And there's my classic Danish rye bread, the rugbrød, with some Danish Lurpak butter, a little thin layer. And then over in the kitchen, someone opened up a jar of sild of the Danish pickled herrings. There's a pickled note in there, and it's savory, pickled onion, a little bit of pickled ginger, and a little bit more savory now that I've added water. And again, the astringency has just been dampened, and it's beautiful. When you swallow, you've got sweet, and you've got slight gingeriness, but peat and sweet carrying here for a good long time. Very, very nice finish. And I think it's time to get on to the Whisky Whistle whiskey score now for this one. So for Berry Brothers and Rudd Blended Malt Scotch Whisky, the Islay Reserve. What is that going to be, folks? The Whisky Whistle whiskey score? It's going to be 86 out of 100. You heard it. 86 out of 100 is the Whisky Whistle whiskey score for Berry Brothers and Mud. Berry Brothers and Rudd. No, their name is not Mud. Blended Malt Scotch Whisky, the Islay Reserve. Cheers. I'm going to give that a little clink just to wrap up. 87 points for the Sherry Cask Matured, 86 for Islay Reserve. Both of these, excellent value, $60. And all I want to do is I just want to hug these two. Little group hug here. A threesome hug. Very nice. You know what? Let's do one last thing. And that is we're going to peat the sherry. And I think this is going to be wonderful. And by the way, they have a Speyside blend. They've got at least four in the range. There's a Speyside Reserve, I think that's what it's called. And then there's a Peated Cask Matured as well. So Sherry Cask Matured, Peated Cask Matured, and then we have the Speyside Reserve and the Islay Reserve in that range. I might want to grab the Speyside Reserve, maybe the other one as well, but I'm on a limited budget. These are the two that I wanted, and they're the first two that were really available readily here in Korea. It's like a Longro now, like a sherry cask Longro. It sweetens it up. It fruitens it up. Amazingly, the sherry is more aggressive here than the peat, which is unusual. And I think that tells you the heftiness of that sherry. And I'm wondering now if 87 points was too few, but I'm satisfied with that. And I definitely encourage you to have fun with your whiskeys too. That can be a real source of fun and joy, and help to slow down your home whiskey process. Your what's the word I'm looking for? Not process, but your methodology, your ritual. There we go. That's the word I want to say. Slow down your ritual. Make you stop and think. and have a nice contemplative, enjoyable time with your whiskey. Take care, folks, and we'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye now. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, we'll see you.